be here today and have to talk to you guys about Einride. So you might have heard about us, and yeah. Anyway, I'm Thomas, founder and engineer at Einride. Been with companies since the early days. I've done a whole bunch of startups before this one, and starting building technology really. And it's kind of a interesting thing starting out with some of the technologies we're working on. But let me take you back to the beginning. So founded back in 2016, which is about 5 years ago. For me, it's a long time. So much has happened, so many exciting things. And since then, we've managed to do a whole bunch of things. So we were first in the world on going on public road with a fully autonomous cabless truck, which was a huge achievement for us. And one of the things, even from the beginning of Einride, has always been to drive the idea that we can do things better in a different way than they're done today. Some of the founding people of this company have come out of the industries like heavy trucks and some of the companies doing that today. We're looking into the future and saw that the transition is taking too long time. We need to do something better. And I think maybe the most important thing that was done was to dare to think big, that you can actually do something about this. And I think that vision and mission that's been with the company since the beginning has been the thing that's really made it happen. Because obviously, when we launched all those years ago, we got a lot of attention and people got excited about the future and that we can do things better. So anyway, since then, again, we have the biggest fleet of heavy-duty electric trucks in Europe right now, and we're gonna keep that position and even take it to having the largest global fleet. And we've also signed a huge amount of customers who are as excited as we are about where we can take all of this. And I think now we're a super diverse team. We've grown quite a lot, but let me show you some of the things that we've done during these 5 years that we've existed. Just obviously, in the beginning, we were going quite slowly, because that's the thing. We don't build autonomous trucks only. What we actually do is help customers, shippers who don't have fleets of their own, to figure out a way how to get to sustainable freight. And we help them with that transition. And what that means is that we have both electric man trucks and electric autonomous trucks, and we move pallets from point A to B, or whatever goods there is that they need moving. And that's not only an autonomous driving problem, it's a much bigger problem, but the sustainability part is exactly what we're trying to solve. And yeah, there's been many different customers who's kind of signed up to that journey of transitioning to sustainable freight. It's a huge mission, and there's in the beginning, when you're just a few people and you say that we're going to change this industry, this $2 trillion industry, people will basically say you're crazy. There's not much more to it. And I think people still call us crazy. But at this point, we're a very different company. We managed to do quite a few things. What is going back to here is that we went slowly at our customers because that's where we begin, because we don't need to go fast in order to move goods. We can do it slowly as well, which is easier from a safety perspective. But what we then said, well, we can actually go fast. And they're like, yeah, no, you can't. We've seen it, you're super slow. So what we did go fast in the end. So we wanted to show that technology is here, that the transition can happen if you want to. And I think that whole mission and mentality of saying something and then doing it is something that signed on many of the customers we have that also wants to see a transition to sustainable freight. Because the system right now is quite locked in. It's hard to go over to using battery electric systems where you have range anxieties, cost anxieties, and different problems that need solving. Because you have these chargers you need to figure out, and you can't really replace a diesel truck one-to-one with an electric truck. But going back to the mission. So 7% of global CO2 is emitted from this industry. That's the mission. That's what we're trying to get rid of, transforming the whole industry into a sustainable one. Besides that, obviously emissions like NOx gases and all that is another huge thing that needs to be addressed, that can be addressed as a side benefit of this. But obviously, as already heard today, getting rid of the CO2 has to be the foremost mission right now. And the industry is growing as well. So this is a problem that if it's not solved, we're going to be in a much worse situation. Needs to be handled. And right now, if you're a large shipper who needs to find a way how to get to sustainable freight, you need to work with a very fragmented system that has many actors that are not working in a centralized way. It's not digitized because most of the work, the way it's set up today, can be done with pen and paper. But if you have, chargers, which you have, you need to figure out, your queues and when they should be used, so you don't have to set them up everywhere. You have batteries with their states. You have loading docks personnel. You have autonomous vehicles coming into this whole thing. All these data points has to be brought into one system. Otherwise, there is no way how to optimize it. And if you can't optimize it, you can't really run electric fleets. So that is one of the huge challenges going into this, tying the whole ecosystem together to provide our customers with a service of moving goods sustainably, point A to point B. It's a huge problem with many parts, and happy to say that in our company, we're a great mix of people, and both the electric part, which is the end thing we're trying to achieve, to do the transformation, but we think that when it comes to the autonomous part, that's the main thing that's going to have the transition go fast. If we can get autonomous technologies out there right now, the business case for going sustainable and transitioning to electric systems is much better. It's even better than with diesel-driven vehicles. And one fear that I think is big in our company, at least, is that if the industry today is built out on top of, if the autonomous industry is built up on top of diesel-driven freight, the systems are going to be set for the next 10 years to come. For us, it's very important that this transition to autonomous vehicles happens on top of electric freight. It's going to be the end cheaper state. It's going to be better for the environment and also better for the companies, as well as quality. But the way the industry is set up, there's a risk of that. And therefore, we feel it's super important for us to have this technology out there, make it visible for our customers, to make sure that they understand that if they demand it, this will happen. But if they don't demand it, it will take a longer time. So what we do, we tie this whole ecosystem together. These customers that today don't really have anybody to turn to, that can help them with the fragmented system, transition it to the sustainable. That's what we can do. We have a platform that ties it all together, that we combine with both making the fully autonomous vehicles and also deploying manned electric freight. That whole solution together is what we provide to our customers. Because I think many people have just seen the pods that we have, our AETs, as we call them, autonomous electric trucks, and think that we're kind of a trucking company. Maybe we sell them somehow, but it's actually a service, transport as a service. And in the beginning of the company, it was just hard to even talk about that story because the platform is uninteresting. It's just a software service, you think. But actually, the platform is what makes the transition happen. Because the way we work with our customers is basically we help them digitize in order for them to understand what's their footprint today, how much CO2 is emitted and where and how. And if they want to transition, what would be the steps? Right now, when we're going into the American scene, in the normal case with electric trucks, with a great business case, we can still transition about 40% of all the logistics they have. And I think common knowledge here would be to say that, well, electric heavy vehicles, can that even be done? Can it even work? But yes, it can, but you need a lot of great digitization. The other thing, of course, is when you have that digitization, when you have the digital interfaces to all the parts of the ecosystem, that's when you can enable autonomous vehicles to communicate with the infrastructure and be a part of the overall system. So digitalization, electrification enables automation. And we've been live with this fleet now for over a year. And during the next year, by the end of next year, we're going to have 500 electric trucks in operation. And the next 18 months after that, we're going to have 1,000 more. That's how you transition industry. You drive it and make it happen. And of course, our customers have been super important in this. They see that they need to commit in order to have the transition happen and be a part of us driving this. Because when we reach scale, the rest of the industry sees that it's possible and they can transition as well. So these are some of the official ones. I was going to show one of the other ones that we've started out with in America, which is General Electric, one of the launching customers. But what you're going to start seeing now is some of the other huge customers that we're helping moving over to sustainable freight and helping them on that journey of getting over to cost-effective, cost-neutral even, electric sustainable freight, which is also autonomous in the cases where we can. Because in the same way we scale out our electric systems, where we show them you can start here and move into all of these other ones over time in a long transition, we do the same thing with autonomous. This is where you can start right now. These are the flows that's going to follow when the capabilities are available. This is where you have your business case, and that's how you transition. So the 3 parts I've already talked about, and some about how we're driving that. Just briefly on our tech stack, this is something I made a long time ago, but it's a way to describe how autonomous systems work. So we're Go first in the company. We use a lot of Go. I've used Go now for 7 years or something. And yeah, we're heavy users of it. And the great thing with it is we can use it all across our systems, all the way from the cloud systems, all the way down to the vehicles. But I also have the Rust crab here. I don't know if you recognize Rust crab. But anyway, it's something we use for safety critical systems. Because obviously most of the industry is using C right now. We think that moving over to Rust here can increase quality a whole lot. The other part there is obviously there is work going on in making Rust safety certifiable. And it's useful for real-time systems when you have those safety critical loops that needs to be deterministic. And that's where we can deploy Rust in some of our systems. And the way we can then move is obviously being able to move faster is what we need to do to have the transition happen. So we're heavy users of Google Cloud, and some of the services around understanding the CO2 footprint and energy mixes is things we use not only in electricity to drive our trucks, but also something that's important to understand the footprint of our services running in the cloud. So we think that having a huge mission that leads the way in the decisions you make, and having people come into our team who have a strong why, which is always the most important question I would ask in any interview. Because for me, the mission is super critical. There's no reason to have a company unless you can improve society with it. And for me, that's something I believe very strongly. So there's a lot of technology in here, and you can talk to me about any part of this. I'm very deep in autonomous driving stack, and have talks about all the parts of it every day. So please come talk to me afterwards if you want to. Obviously, we've had a huge amount of marketing in papers and awards. We were in the top 100 innovations in Time Magazine 2 days ago of this year, which is a great thing. We were talking in Glasgow just yesterday with both the leaders of Volvo and Scania, who are becoming a real player in this and making transition happen. The company's grown super quickly now. We're something like 250 people right now, and we're at a faster than doubling rate every year. And with that, we drive the transition. All these great people in the company making it happen every day is something I'm excited about. Thanks.